27th, the time now is 6 p.m., and I will call to order this regular meeting of the Town of Mead Board of Trustees. Excuse me. In accordance with the town's remote participation and remote meeting policy adopted by the Board of Trustees on March 13th, 2023, by resolution number 21-R-2023, remote participation will be allowed. The meeting link has been provided on the town's website and designated posting place 24 hours prior to this meeting. I'd like to remind everyone present, both in person and virtually, of the town's general guidelines for public comment at open meetings and public hearings. The guidelines are available online and on the entry table. There are 2 public comment opportunities on the agenda for persons in attendance at Town Hall to address the board. The first is limited to the items on the agenda. The second public comment opportunity allows any subject, whether it is on the agenda or not, to be addressed. If you are here to have comments during our public hearing tonight, please make those comments during that agenda item. Mary, roll call, please.
Mayor Whitlow.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris.
Here.
Trustee Adams.
Here.
Trustee Cartwright.
Here.
Trustee Crane. Trustee Crane, I do see that you're online, but you're showing as muted. Would you like to unmute and respond, please? Trustee Crane? Move on. Trustee Hagan.
Here.
Trustee Schranz.
Here.
Mayor Whitlow, today is Monday, October 27th, 2025, and you do have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Mary. Please join me in a moment of silence for those affected by the recent flooding in Alaska. Thank you very much. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much for your time. Next on the agenda is review and approve agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda this evening? Okay, hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the agenda as is?
I move to approve the agenda as is.
Second?
Thank you. Roll call, please, Mary.
Trustee Schranz.
Yes.
Trustee Adams.
Yes.
Trustee Hagan.
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris.
Yes.
Trustee Crane, I'm going to ask, can you try to unmute? It's not working on my end, Trustee Crane. If you are there, I would suggest that you disconnect from the meeting and try to reconnect. Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you very much. We have an agenda for this evening. Next is our staff report by our town manager. Ma'am, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Trustees. You have my report. There's a couple things I wanted to add. We did finish the repairs to the gym floor. We had significant striping issues, and so we got that all done. The gyms opened up. We had our first pickleballers last week. So people are really starting to use it. They're scheduling practices, leagues. So we're really excited to get that up and running. It's somewhat fits and starts. We are working on some warranty issues on the parking lot. So this is pretty typical when a new building opens. You know, you get 2 feet forward and then you have to go back a little bit. But we're definitely using the facility and people are excited. We had about 200 or 250 participants in the trick or treat street this weekend, which was really nice, beautiful day. So that was exciting. I just wanted you to be aware, in case you didn't see it on social media, but we are going to have significant paving at the intersection this week. They're working on getting it prepped, and I think we're going to pave on Friday when the weather gets a little bit warmer. But they're going to do quite a bit of asphalt paving, so which will mean more traffic interruptions. We'll have to close some lanes while they're doing it, but just FYI, if that comes up. And then finally, I would like to introduce to you our new community development director, Todd Bjorkis. Did I say it right, Todd? Come on up, say hello.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and trustees. I'm Todd Bjorkis, the Community Development Director. I started about 2 weeks ago. I'm very excited to be here, very welcomed by all the staff. And Alex and Anna and Colin in my department have brought me up to speed in a great way. So I'm excited to serve the town and its residents, and excited to get to know all of you and bring you some good projects. Thank you.
And that's all I have.
Thank you, Helen. Questions or comments for Helen tonight? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to our informational item. Alex, I've heard tonight that Alex Gutierrez, from Victim Services Coordinator, from Carbon Valley and Mead Victim Services, is unable to attend tonight, and we will reschedule this agenda item at a later time. So I just wanted to let everybody know, if anybody was here to listen to that, we'll have it later scheduled for us in the future. Next is our proclamation for Law Enforcement Records Personnel Week for November 3rd to the 8th of 2025. I've asked Trustee Cartwright to please read the proclamation.
Proclamation Law Enforcement Records Personnel Week, November 3rd through November 8th, 2025. Whereas dedicated law enforcement records personnel serve the citizens of Colorado to provide them with vital services, and whereas law enforcement records personnel are crucial to assisting law enforcement agencies identify, pursue, capture, and process suspects, and whereas these professionals continually use their expertise and experience in maintaining the criminal justice statistics and improving apprehension strategies, and whereas law enforcement records personnel serving the town of Mead have exhibited professionalism, efficiency, and compassion during the performance of their essential duties in the past year, and whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff law enforcement records is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform, and whereas the state of Colorado has previously designated the second week in November to recognize law enforcement records personnel, now therefore Colleen Whitlow, Mayor of the town of Mead, does hereby proclaim November 3rd through November 8th, 2025 as Law Enforcement Records Personnel Week in recognition of the vital services they perform. Signed under her hand and seal on this 27th day of October, 2025.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve the signing of this proclamation?
I'll make the motion to approve the signing of the proclamation.
Second?
Thank you. Roll call, please, Mary.
Trustee Hagan,
Yes.
trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris,
Yes.
trustee Schranz, trustee Adams,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you very much. And Chief Eubanks, thank you very much for all of your work and your department's work for keeping us safe. So thank you very much. Next, move on to the Native American Heritage Month of November 2025. I've asked Trustee Adams to please read the proclamation. Sir?
Thank you. Proclamation Native American Heritage Month, November 2025. Whereas the history and culture of our great nation have been significantly influenced by the Native American and Indigenous people. And whereas the contributions of the Native Americans have enhanced the freedom, prosperity, and greatness of America today. And whereas the customs and traditions are respected and celebrated as part of a rich legacy throughout the United States. And whereas in 1990, President George H.W. Bush approved a joint resolution designating November 1990 National American Indian Heritage Month. Similar proclamations under variants of the name, including Native American Heritage Month and National American Indian and Alaskan Native Heritage Month, have been issued each year since 1994. And whereas in honor of Native American Heritage Month, statewide celebrations, as well as numerous cultural, artistic, educational, and historical activities have been planned. And now therefore, Colleen Whitlow, Mayor of the town of Mead, do by here proclaim the month of November 2025 as Native American Heritage Month, given under her hand and seal of the town of Mead, Colorado on this 27th day of October 2025.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve the signing of this proclamation?
Make a motion to approve National American Heritage Month.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Mary.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris,
Yes.
trustee Adams,
Yes.
Trustee Shranz.
Yes.
Trustee Hagan.
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright.
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries. We invite tonight the Daughters of the American Revolution to please come forward and have a special picture with the trustees.
Why they're here. Okay. All right. She asked me. All right. All right. We're gonna go that way. Go that way. So you do it like this. Okay. Stop that one. Yeah.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. We'll move on to our public hearing. The board welcomes public comment at this time for any item on the agenda. We will also take comments on the items not on the agenda during the second public comment, number 11. Please remember that this public comment is not intended to be a question and answer session. The board will listen to your comments and take them into consideration. All items should be directed to the Board of Trustees and not to specific individuals. If you wish to speak during the first public comment period, please adhere to the town's general guidelines. Please start by stating your full name and address for the record. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the Board of Trustees. If you are representing a group, you will have 5 minutes. We ask that all speakers and audience members treat one another with respect and dignity. Let's ensure we maintain a welcoming environment and avoid any actions that could be distracting. Ms. Strutt, do we have anyone signed up for this public comment period?
Not for this one, Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much, Mary. All right, we'll move on to our consent agenda. The consent agenda contains items which are considered routine and are approved with one motion and vote. I would like to recognize staff for putting together these items and the board for reviewing them ahead of tonight's meeting. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Mary.
Trustee Adams.
Yes.
Trustee Shranz.
Yes.
Trustee Hagan.
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you very much. And thank you to staff for putting this all together for us tonight. All right, we'll move on to 3 of the public hearings that are scheduled for tonight. The first one is on Access 25 preliminary plat. For this public hearing, we will first hear from staff, then the applicant may present. After the applicant, we will take questions or concerns from the public, followed by the trustees. Public hearing Access 25 preliminary plat. I will now open the public hearing, and the time now is 6:14. I invite our planner 2, Colin Morales, to present our staff report.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mayor. So trustees, Mayor, tonight for your consideration, we're bringing forward the Access 25 Logistics Park preliminary plat. Thank you. So just a couple details before we get into it. The applicant for the proposal tonight is Mead Industrial Development, LLC. The property is approximately 166 acres in size. And the property is generally located between County Road 34 and County Road 36 on the east side of I-25. To the north and south of the property, there's a mix of property within unincorporated Weld County and within the town limits. The property that is within town limits is zoned as light industrial. Directly to the east of the property is unincorporated Weld County. And then to the west of the property is within the town of Mead, and it's zoned as light industrial. So here's a vicinity map to help you get oriented. So obviously the property is outlined there in red. You have County Road 9.5 that's directly adjacent to the property on the west. County Road 34 that's just a little south of the property there. And then 36 is out of this image, but it's just the north of the property. And the property on the north is bounded by the Great Western Railroad. So obviously you can see FedEx is over to the west of this proposed property or this proposed plat. And then to the northwest is the Home Depot Distribution Center. And then directly to the southwest is are the two AMK annexations that were approved this year and last year. So just as a reminder, the purpose of a preliminary plat is to provide the town with an overall master plan for a proposed development. So this process lays out an initial proposed design, open space design, and also does initial engineering to prove that the subdivision would function as proposed. No lots, easements, or rights-of-way are legally created with the preliminary plat. So if the preliminary plat is approved, then the final plat would be the next step in the entitlement process, which is where the lot layout and design is finalized, and then full engineering docs and all on-site and off-site improvements are prepared, and legal saleable lots are actually created. So the Access 25 preliminary plat before you tonight proposes a total of 10 lots and 4 tracts. The 10 lots in this plat are intended for industrial services, such as warehouse and distribution type uses, similar to the Home Depot and the FedEx properties directly to the west and northwest of this property. Yeah, and so the preliminary plat provides more lots to accommodate the growing demand for industrial development within the I-25 corridor within the town of Mead. And this will especially be heightened, this growth of industrial development with the finalization of the construction of County Road 9.5 that this property would directly access. So the Mead Municipal Code outlines several review criteria that a preliminary plat must meet in order to be approved. The first of these criteria is that the plat represents a functional system of land use and is consistent with our land use code as well as the comprehensive plan. So the proposed preliminary plat provides adequate access to the roadway network with a proposed east-west collector providing access off of County Road 9.5. And then there's several private access roads that interconnect from that east-west collector to all of the proposed lots that will be within this plat. And then the proposed preliminary plat is also generally consistent with the comprehensive plan designation that's outlined in the future land use map. So the future land use map shows a mix of planned industrial mixed use as well as business park designations on the property, which the already assigned zoning of the property of light industrial complies with. And so here's that zoning map showing the light industrial zoning. So the second review criteria for a preliminary plat includes 2 sub-criteria that a preliminary plat is required to meet. The first of those sub-criteria is conformance with the zoning map itself. So the plat conforms with the light industrial zoning designation as the lots meet all of the required dimensional standards outlined in our land use code for lots with light industrial zoning. So things like minimum lot size, access, utility easements, those kind of things. It complies with all those standards. And the proposed uses of the property after subdivision aligns with the uses allowed in the light industrial zoning district. So the second sub-criteria is that the preliminary plat must further the goals and policies of the comprehensive plan. So as I stated previously, the proposed plat will benefit the town's economic base by providing lots to help meet the growing demand for industrial development along the I-25 corridor within the town. And then the proposed preliminary plat also protects the town's environmental quality as there are drainage facilities protect water quality. And then there's also no anticipated disturbances to natural areas within the town. So the next criteria that a preliminary plat must meet includes adequate utility and transportation design. So the proposed utility and transportation systems have been reviewed by town staff, consultants, as well as external agencies. They've been found adequate to serve the proposed development. The proposal complies with the town's adopted transportation plan and the town's engineering standards regarding transportation, drainage, and utility system design. The drainage and transportation infrastructure will be constructed at the time of development in order to provide adequate facilities to accommodate the proposed uses. The next criteria for the preliminary plat is that any negative impacts on adjacent land uses have been identified and satisfactorily mitigated. So potential negative impacts on adjacent land uses have been identified. Things like drainage on a development will be mitigated in accordance with a final drainage plan that will be submitted and approved with the final plat for the property. Any traffic related to the development will be mitigated in accordance with a traffic study and the final construction documents that will also be submitted at the time of final plat with this property. And then the final criteria is that there is a need or desirability within the community for the applicant's development, and that the development will help achieve a balance of land use and or housing types within the town of Mead. So by allowing industrial development in this area, surrounded by other industrial developments such as FedEx and Home Depot and AMK to the south, along with the prime access to County Road 9.5 and I-25, helps to support a balanced land use pattern by concentrating industrial activity in a suitable location. So this approach helps to minimize pressure to rezone other areas in town for industrial purposes, which helps to preserve other areas that are currently zoned or designated for residential and commercial uses. So with that, the Planning Commission held a public hearing on October 15th, and they unanimously voted to recommend approval of the preliminary plat to the Board of Trustees. Staff has also found that the preliminary plat is in compliance with all the criteria set forth in our municipal code, and we recommend approval of the preliminary plat via the suggested motion in your packet tonight. And then the applicant's here as well tonight, and they have a presentation, so I'll turn it over to them, and then I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Colin.
Mayor and trustees, my name is Dean Brown, I'm with Road Real Estate. I brought with us tonight our engineer, Christian and Warren Malcolm, with any questions. I think tonight's an exciting night for us. There's a lot of you that I saw here in 2020, 2021. The industrial park.
Could you put your microphone on if you can? Sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Can you hear me better now? Okay. Do you want me to start all over? Did you hear all that? Okay, perfect. Since that time, we have completed Home Depot. FedEx has opened. Those are the things you see on the ground physically. Behind the scenes, Access 25 has, we did a labor and logistics study, and it's ranked #1 in North Metro Denver for the #1 industrial park in the area based on logistics, labor pools, and quality of life. So it's something that the town should be proud of. In addition to that, in 2022, the Home Depot facility won the 2022 NAIOP Industrial Project of the Year. So some really exciting things have happened out there. The undertow, what's been going on outside of what you see, the town of Mead, CDOT, Rural Real Estate, Valter, and Weld County formed a joint partnership and moved forward the construction of County Road 9.5, which today is fully paved. They're doing their top lifts this week. We should have that road completed. So thanks to staff, thanks to town manager and all of you, it's a very successful project and has shown what we can do as a governmental public-private partnership. It's a wonderful thing. And I think a lot of folks have told us there's a lot of things we could not do on this project from the start in 2021 to the road, and we've done it. So I thank all of you for that. It's been very, very successful. We look forward to moving forward with our next phase, which is the 160 acres that Colin discussed. We're excited to get that going. We think that the opportunities will be great with County Road 9.5 opening up, and look forward to any questions, comments you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown, for being here tonight. Now, this is an opportunity for the public to comment on this public hearing. When you're recognized, please state your name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes to address the board, and we ask that you please adhere to the town's general guidelines. Mary, are there anyone who has signed up for this public hearing?
Kathy Sprague?
All right, ma'am, you have the floor. Thank you for being here tonight.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and Board. Thank you for your opportunity to speak here. My name's Kathy Sprague, and my husband Marvin and I live at 5008 County Road 36, which is directly to the east of this proposal. I want to cover 3 concerns from our viewpoint. The most important is, and I think this one maybe falls in that negative impact to adjacent property area. Our property is served by the McKay Lateral, which is listed as to be relocated. I've been in touch with Alex in planning. He has confirmed that all McKay Lateral concerns must be resolved prior to the final plat. And I just want to ensure that that also includes our underground irrigation, which has been there forever and runs for about a 1/4 mile directly along the section line. So that is not incidental to us, obviously. There's also a proposed detention pond. Mr. Bro commented last week about this, that's not intended to be full of water all the time. And there are definitely some groundwater issues in the area, which I think everybody's run into as the road's been built. And it is very concerned that appropriate measures be taken that no groundwater or other issues impact a piece of residence that we own, which is directly across the road from that. And as a final note, Alex has indicated to me that proposed Weld County Road 11 will be run on the developer side of the property. This appears to me to be kind of a road to nowhere. It would dead end at Road 34. It would dead end before Road 36. And if it dead ends on the developer property, it is going to encourage additional traffic between there and Road 36 across our easement, which we built and have maintained since we built our home in 2007. And that is just a dirt road that is not geared for that kind of traffic. So our biggest concern is this proposed potential County Road 11 and what that's going to mean to the area. Let's see. I think that's the total of our issues, and I appreciate your consideration, and thanks for the opportunity to speak.
Ma'am, thank you very much for being here tonight. Mary, is there anyone else here who has signed up to speak during this public hearing?
No.
Okay, thank you much. Do any of the trustees have comments or questions for either staff or the applicant tonight? Trustee Hagan.
I just ask applicant's engineer to address the County Road 11 and the detention pond, whether is it going to have normal water pool in it? Is it dry? Some of her concerns, just alleviate those, please, or at least address them briefly.
So is this on?
Yes.
It is. Yep. Good evening, Ms. Mayor and trustees. My name is Chris Strawn. I work with Ware Malcolm, 900 South Broadway, Denver, Colorado. So the detention pond that she's speaking to is in the northeast corner of the property, where approximately 1/3 or a little less of area drains that direction. And so historically water drains there. We're putting a pond in place to capture any excessive runoff due to the added impervious that gets built with the development. So meeting all codes and standards. It's going to be a surface release because it drains to a roadside ditch more or less. So the introduction of groundwater is not anticipated beyond what's already existing. And then as far as the Weld County Road, discussion. This was a request at the town based on town master plan, roadway infrastructure in the future. The County Road 11 really doesn't serve this property. It's purely being dedicated on a plat at a request of the town.
Any other further questions? Okay, thank you so very much. Trustee Adams.
Sorry, before you leave, sorry. The one thing I don't think it was addressed, what about the underground irrigation that they were asking about? Is that going to stay intact on their property?
So the section line is also the property line, our eastern property line. If Weld County Road was to be constructed, which our plat only dedicates right away, it doesn't anticipate any construction. The half on our western side of the right of way would be anticipated to be built. I'm sure that there would need to be some relocation or interaction with existing facilities that may be interacted with this, but again, our requirements would be our half of that right of way, which would be west of the section line. Again, I think there's still discussions about this road actually being completed in the future. So our initial component to this is just a dedication of right of way, no actual construction of roadway.
All right.
Okay, any other further questions? Okay. All right. Is there a motion regarding resolution number 64-R-2025? No.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 64-R 2025, a resolution of the town of Mead, Colorado, granting conditional approval of the Access 25 Logistics Park subdivision preliminary plat.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hagan,
Yes.
trustee Adams,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris,
Yes.
trustee Strands.
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries for resolution number 64-R-2025. I will now close the public hearing at 6:32 and thank staff and the applicant for being here tonight. Thank you very much. So according to the staff report, the public hearing for 2025 budget amendment for the Public Impact Fund has been scheduled and published for tonight's 2025 budget amendment. Is not necessary and has been canceled. So we will now move on to the 2026 budget. This next public hearing is regarding our 2026 budget. We'll first hear from staff. Questions and comments will be taken after. I will open the public hearing for this 2026 budget at 6:33, and I will turn it over to our town treasurer, Mary Strutt. Ma'am?
Thank you, Mayor, trustees. I'm happy to be here tonight and bring you my presentation on the 2026 draft budget. As you know, the budget was presented to you on September 29th. There's a few changes to the budget since September 29th, which are being presented again tonight. They were also presented at your last meeting on October 13th. This is a public hearing for the budget, which means it was posted on the website and published in the Times Call newspaper, and the public is welcome to comment on the budget tonight. So our budget process, again, just to review our budget process, getting forward this year, we've been doing this since about June, since we've gone over the schedule and the projects and the revenues and expenses. Hopefully some education for the board and some opportunity to be involved in this process. Our schedule brings it a little bit earlier this year. October 27th is earlier than we've approved budgets in the past. The reason for this is twofold. When we've done it in December, it doesn't give us much time if there's any continuances to consider items. But it also, for in the future, when we have elections in November, it gives us a chance to get ahead of it. The budget is our plan for 2026. And as Lorraine said at the previous budget presentation, plans do change. So the budget is allowed to be changed by the Board of Trustees in the future if need be, by supplemental appropriations, which would include another public hearing. Yeah. So on the budget presentation on September 29th, I provided you with a word cloud of some accomplishments. And I know this is too many words for a slide, but I just wanted to go over some of the accomplishments for 2025. There's been some biggies. The community center was completed and opened. There's more parking downtown now with the completion of the parking lot next to Mead Town Center and the one here at Town Hall being paved. The Gold Star Memorial was completed and dedicated. Liberty Ranch restrooms, they're close. They'll be done before the end of the year, but they're building them now. We've had some software implementations here at the town, e-tickets for the police, the boards and records portal, which you all should be very familiar with by now, because that's where you get your packets. There's been some new businesses downtown and along the Highway 66 corridor, which are fun to see coming into Mead. The pavement maintenance program this year, the 1% sales and use tax dedicated to streets, made some improvements on County Road 5, the entrance to Mulligan Lake, County Road 7 north of 28, south of 66, and in the Seekage Business Park. So those were some really nice projects done there. There were 2 playgrounds installed this year, replaced the one in Founders Park and in North Creek. There's been some equipment purchases, a street sweeper. First time we've owned a street sweeper in the town of Mead. That's kind of nice. Allows us to clean those streets as needed, or our Public Works Department, rather than depending on a contractor who comes whenever and brings their own equipment. So nice to have our own equipment as we have qualified staff who can run that equipment. We've also had some other purchases of equipment at Parks, PD, and the community center. But again, for me, the street sweeper was nice to see. And we've got some major, major ongoing transportation projects, as everybody here knows. I bring up this next slide of multi-year capital projects. You've seen this a couple of times, just to say that what's done is done, which is great, but there's also some ongoing stuff, right? We know that the land use code update is still going on. The Welker and 3rd intersection, gosh, we're hoping that's going to be done soon. Safe routes to school, some more sidewalks and trails would be great. That 66 and County Road 7 underpass with CDOT, hope to be working on that next year. The Main Street parking lot, that one's done. The Weld County Road 34 bridge design and construction, that construction should be coming soon. The design is done, and you should know that we got a grant to cover most of that project. The restrooms we mentioned, Gold Star, parks, trails, and open space plant, that's going on into 2026. You'll have a presentation from the plan here in the next couple of weeks. And then under capital improvement, there's some funds for segment 5 of I-25 enhancements and art in the roundabouts and contributions to the Weld County roundabouts. Okay, so to our budget assumptions, we've seen this before. We do expect slightly increased revenues in 2026. Some increase in sales tax, property tax increased about 4.6% based on the preliminary assessed valuations. We'll get those final assessed valuations in December from Weld County. Residential housing, we've talked about a little bit, has slowed. I'll have those housing numbers later in my presentation. Staffing, strategically looking at who we have and what can be done by staff, and the community center, what the needs are there with opening a new facility, and some increase in costs of doing business that we talked about on the 29th in kind of detail. So significant changes in your budget since 25. Again, I talked about this on the 29th. Severance tax did kind of a weird thing in 2025. It went down because of some rebates that they were allowed to get on their taxes. We expect it to rebound back up in 2026. Investments are still going strong. Our investments are at about 5%, which is good. We have a lot of funds in our investments right now because we've been saving up for years to do these projects. We will see those investment funds go down. You did have in your packet tonight the 3rd quarter investment report, and it really just went down slightly from the 2nd quarter to 3rd because we're just starting to spend down some of those funds. Police equipment, again, those are outlined in your budget. There's probably about a half a page of equipment that the police needs for 2026. A lot of it is repeat. They need it every year, right? The body worn cameras, there's a annual fee to that, the tasers, the stuff like that. But it did increase in 2026. Some facility improvements. For the police department, we had somebody take a look at the police department and town hall to see what maintenance needs were at both facilities. And roofing at the PD and the storage facility over at the PD, those need some improvements, the facade and the roofing here at town hall. Community development software is in Department 43. There's $85,000 there to look at some software for the community development team to help them be more efficient in their work. Department 46 is a new department. We did add it in 2025 with some expenditures in there, but we've really filled it out this year, adding all the utility costs that we expect with the new building. So utilities and phones and trash pickup and insurance and everything else, and staffing. Downtown signage is under community engagement in the general fund. Again, we're looking at continuing with the signage. Most of it's based on a grant, though. If we can get the grant, we'll do the project. If not, we may not. Salaries and benefits are in there. And then the strategic planning initiative that the board talked about doing is in the capital improvement fund and in the development impact funds. Oops, I skipped one. Or did I skip two? So staffing, these are the staffing numbers. 2025, we had 54.16 FTEs. That's full-time equivalents. So full-time, if you work 40 hours a week, you're a 1, right? If you work 20 hours a week, you're a 0.5. So we get to 54.16 because we have some part-time employees in our crossing guards and our recreation assistants. Our proposed for 2026 is 61.08. That includes the school resource officer for the new pre-K through 8, which is opening next year. And we did sign that IGA with the school district at the last meeting. And most of the funds for that is paid for by the school district. So we'll pay we hire the officer, we pay the officer, but we get reimbursement of most of their salary from the school. We do pay benefits and training and supervisory costs for that. Communications manager was added to staff, as was town clerk and public works operations supervisor, parks and public work, to get us some division in the public works staff and some specialty skills, especially as we're going forward with the Tree City. We're starting our Tree City plan for next year, which involves more trees, and you need somebody who knows how to take care of those. We think we have other staffing needs maybe in planning, but we'll kind of look at that and maybe come back to you next year if there's other needs there. We did just hire Todd as our community development director, so we're going to look how things go. But we just wanted to put that out there as a potential. So corrections or changes since October 13th. These are all listed specifically in the AIS by department line item number. But page 3, the totals were corrected on all funds. We did take out the meet, greet, and eat with the Board of Trustees under the general fund. That was budgeted at like $5,000. We did add in the CJIS compliance consultant. So CJIS is Criminal Justice Information System. So it's keeping that secure. To fund that, just so you know, because when I presented you the budget on September 29th, I did present you a balanced general fund. So if I add in $20,000 for the CJIS compliance, I had to take out $20,000 somewhere else. So we did take $20,000 out of those roofing repairs and maintenance stuff needed for the police buildings. We do think maybe it could be done under the one estimate that we had. We did get an estimate, but we have not taken bids yet. So that's why the money was taken out of there. The operations supervisor for Parks and Public Works was added under the Parks Fund, so 0145. You'll see the increase on that page for salaries and medical benefits, everything that goes along with an employee. How do we pay for that? Under non-departmental, there was about $80,000 in there, which is listed as special projects, and that's actually listed to balance the budget. It's down to $8,000 now. A lot of the salary came from there, but also $20,000 did come out of capital outlay in the Parks Fund. So The department did feel it was more important to have the staff, and they'll see what they need for mowers and stuff. Under the sewer fund, the auto transfer switch for the wastewater treatment facility is about $30,000. That was just taken out of the fund balance of the sewer fund. And then I still had on there the 2025 budget amendment for the police impact fund, which was not needed here tonight. So once again, the draft budget that you have includes the transmittal letter, and this was all in the board packet, posted on the website and in the records portal. The budget transmittal letter from Town Manager Helen Mickelbrink. The proposed draft of the budget for all funds includes 23 and 24 actuals, 25 budget, 25 forecast. That means that's what we think we're going to spend by the end of 2025, and the 2026 draft. There is also two pages in there for debt service. One is the debt for the wastewater treatment facility and the dump truck and the street sweeper. The other is for the leased vehicles. And then staffing approved positions are all listed on a page with their FTEs and the department they're assigned to. Whoop, this thing's going fast. All right. So back to the budget. If you want to walk through your budget with me, but page 4 is the general fund. It's the primary operating fund of the town. Beginning balance and the ending fund balance are $8,387,935. We do balance that, right? We want to make sure that our revenues coming in and our expenditures match. If there's funds that are available, we try to put those over to the capital improvement fund. There were no funds available this year, but we did get a balanced budget there. Again, you'll see in the general fund after page 4, it goes through all of the revenues and then the expenditures by department. These are the revenues on the left-hand side of the slide is the revenues by category. You'll see that taxes are our biggest revenue source, which is property taxes, sales tax, and use tax on building permits. And then the expenditures on the right-hand side include all of the different departments: police, administration, parks, community development, community center, etc. Street Improvement Fund is our first special revenue fund. It was established with a 1% sales and use tax approved by the voters. It was established in 2021. The beginning fund balance a little over 1.3 million, with 3.2 million in revenues, expenditures 4.4 million. We are ending with kind of a low fund balance of 161,000. That's again as designated, right? We asked the voters for money to fix the roads, and that's what we're doing. So every year, Manny has a plan for those roads and which ones he's going to fix, and he's going to do as many as he can with the funds that are available. Conservation Trust Fund on page 36. That is the funds that we get from Colorado Lottery. We are only allowed to spend those funds on capital projects for parks or open space. So we can buy playgrounds out of there, which is what we've spent it on. This year we have equipment coming out of there. Like by that we mean equipments for park is probably picnic tables and trash cans and benches. Okay. I bring up the residential building permits again before I go into the impact fee funds, because residential building permits is how we predict our revenues into those impact fee funds. So then I go back to 2021. That was the year we had our high watermark of building permits at 334. 2022, 102. So we've hovered right around the 100 mark since then. We've in the past, in 24 and 25, we've kind of forecast that we thought we were going to hit about 150 each of those years. And obviously we did not. These are the actual numbers for those years. So far in 2025, as of last week, we're at 71 building permits. So we think we can hit that 81 number, probably not going to hit the 97 that we had budgeted for. Okay. I say this because these housing numbers go into a couple of different funds that we're figuring out. So for the general fund, the building permits are used to determine use tax and building permits and costs that come in, but also those expenditures for building permits and such. So for the impact funds, it's right here. The police impact fund is the first one. And as I put on my slide last year, we estimate 632 per single family dwelling next year, and the commercial is based on square footage. So revenues is we take that 632 and we multiply it times 91 houses that we expect, and we get the revenues. There's some interest income in there, as you'll see in the budget. There's some funds coming in from commercial also, you know, but that's the revenues coming in is 75,000. And expenditures 103. It is mostly police vehicles. We can only pay for capital expenditures out of our impact funds. We can't pay for personnel or operations. So police vehicles is pretty much what we have in the police fund at this time. Municipal facilities impact fund. Again, the amount per single family dwelling is $5,543. We started with a small beginning fund balance. We had revenues of 783,000, expenditures close to the same. This is the finishing up of the community center next year. We don't have a whole lot more coming out of municipal facilities next year because there's not a whole lot of money in there to spend stuff. I think there was one thing in there. What are we still working on? I lost it. I'm sorry. I'm going to open up my budget for a second to see what it is that we're working on under that fund. Oh, the police facility site plan project is going on out of that fund. And then there's some vehicles in that fund too. So again, the numbers are lower. We did do the community center out of this fund, and a lot of grants were used to do that in 2025. Kind of just want to point this out for fun, right? $5,543 per house. If we build 100 houses, that's $500,000 as revenue coming in. So some people ask, why don't we have a pool here in Mead? And why didn't we put a pool there? And we could pay for a pool under the municipal facilities fund, but a pool is $30 to $50 million. And if we get in 500,000 a year, it's going to take us a while to build that pool with impact funds. So I just kind of want to point that out while we're on this slide to see that. That would be how development would pay for it. Another way to pay for it, if the residents of Mead really want a pool, would be to pay for it through their property taxes. Property taxes could be increased. That's the way a lot of municipalities do it, but that would be a tax question to ask the voters at some point. But again, that's where the money would come from. Transportation Impact Fund. This one's a little interesting. You'll see that our beginning fund balance is 1.8 million and our revenues are 8 million. And you're like, okay, Mary, you just told me 100 houses. If I take 71 times 100 houses, that's only $700,000. How'd I get $8 million in there? That's from grants, mostly from grants. We've done a really good job of getting grants to pay for these projects. So the revenues are coming in, a lot of them from grants, to help finish up these transportation projects that we're doing. Parks and Open Space Impact Fund, beginning fund balance 171,000, revenues 405, expenditures 350, ending fund balance 227. So being paid for out of the Parks and Open Space Impact Fund in 2025 or 2026, sorry, is the completion of the Parks, Open Space and Trails plan. So the post plan. There's also 100,000 in this fund and in the Municipal Facilities Fund and the Transportation Fund for strategic planning, which the board discussed wanting to do in 2026. The Sewer Enterprise Fund is, again, another special revenue fund. It's an enterprise fund, though, which means it runs like a business. People in the enterprise fund, people who use the sewer facility, pay for the sewer facility. So we can't put taxes property taxes, sales tax towards the sewer, it is completely covered by the rates that people pay. So, and it can only be used for the wastewater treatment facility or future needs of the facility. So the beginning fund balance at $6.4 million, revenues, 2.3 million, expenditures 3.5. There's some projects in there that need to be done. Told you that ATF, there's 2 of those going in 26, one at the wastewater treatment facility and one at the Ratterink lift station. But there's other projects being done out of the sewer fund, which is on page 47 of your budget. And then the next one is the capital improvement fund. These are just funds set aside for capital projects. The only revenues there, the 144,000, is just interest. So generally, if we have extra funds, we transfer it over here. But we're not transferring any extra over into the capital improvement fund this year. So the revenues is just the interest that the funds will earn. The expenditures, some of those are just markers, right? We don't really have a plan involved for it. We do have the Art in the Roundabout project going. That's already underway. Some of that'll be done in 25, some in 26. But then there's also the contributions to Weld County roundabouts. That'll be done again in 25 and 26. That's already been approved by the Board of Trustees. But there's $1 million there for special projects. We don't have that necessarily assigned yet, what that is, but it allows us, if we appropriate the funds now, to bring to the board a project that could be approved without a public hearing. So we have those funds available in the capital improvement fund. Strategic planning is what the board talked about for 2026 as we're finishing up these projects. This would be a major focus for the board and staff. And as I said, there is 500,000 available in the capital improvement fund to pay for strategic planning, 100,000 each in the municipal facilities, transportation, and parks and open space fund. So I don't know what this looks like until we meet with the board some more and start that planning process, but I wanted to make sure that we're funded to move forward as the board sees fit. I've listed some plans that could potentially be done, but there could be others that come up. And then not budgeted, identified needs, other things that we've kind of talked about, the community center splash pad, cold storage at Public Works, that's rebuilding that metal building perhaps, or not, depending upon what's feasible to build, sorry. Potentially other staffing positions, police vehicles, a regional park. If we want to look at another one of those, we've kind of talked about Ames Park at one time. We talked about filling out the municipal facilities at Liberty Ranch and putting soccer fields and stuff. So there's some potential. And the County Road 5 bridge repair and replacement is the next bridge on our list that really needs to be repaired. But it's not budgeted right now, but it is identified as a need. That's what I've got for you.
Thank you, Mary. Now, this is the opportunity for the public to comment on the 2026 budget. When you're recognized, please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to address the board, and we ask that you please adhere to the general guidelines. Mary, is there anyone here that would that signed up for the public hearing?
No one signed in, Mayor.
All right. Do the trustees have any comments or questions for Mary tonight? Trustee Hagan.
I met with Mary before this meeting and she's really helpful. And I think staff has done a great job in preparing and presenting the budgets, you know, throughout this last month and when we were first presented with the final budget. And then, but what I was surprised, and I'm new to the board this year, so I'm new to the process, but I was surprised at how limited discussion the board had amongst ourselves and what our priorities was and our input to the budget. I feel like it's pretty much a staff-driven budget that we could have made comments in some of the other public hearings, but we never really discussed it. I would point at the amount of staff that was added in 2025 to support the community center. And on top of that, we're going to add almost 7 more in this 2026 budget on top of the 54 we have now. That's once those positions are created and funded, that's an every year commitment for perpetuity. I've seen on all these other local communities, staff never shrinks. So I would just suggest that we have a retreat or some type of work session and discuss some of this prioritization, the budget surplus and extra funds. You can see that a lot of the ending fund balances are shrinking as especially after this year. And if the police fund isn't approved, then we're really going to be tightening as in 2027 and 2028. So I would suggest we continue this hearing and have that work session and then take it back up. I think we have plenty of time before the end of the year.
Or we can talk about it right now. So the questions are about staff driven, mostly from you, Trustee Hagan. Is that the question?
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean, that's a large part of it.
okay.
And I think just the lack of board input to this, I mean, I think we're representing everybody else that's paying the taxes, and for us to just rubber stamp this on the way through doesn't feel like we're doing our jobs.
Well, we have had several opportunities along the way in the last couple months to address any questions or concerns. So everybody's been here at the table every month and every meeting. So I'm going to ask the question from you to staff to go the extra mile tonight and answer your questions so that we can at least cover some of those things.
To answer my questions,
Mhm.
Regarding adding
Right,
staff.
right.
I mean, that seems to be your main question was.
I think we need to talk about it now, not wait.
I don't have questions for staff. I know what they want.
Staff, so you didn't like the seven new positions that are being added?
Yeah, that's forever cost to this town.
So could Mary explain those
Yeah.
tonight?
I already know what they are. I mean,
Okay.
they listed out the position. I just don't agree with it,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
especially after how many we added in 2025, and we could probably map this out. It's something that happens in small towns. Staff growth. We have the highest ratio of employees to citizens in, Colorado, in this town.
Okay.
So it's a real issue, and just like I can't support and this is forever in our budget. It's not something to be taken lightly.
Okay. Thank you. Comments?
I mean, well, I want to say I'm not rubber stamping this budget in any way, shape, or form. I went through this damn thing line by line. And I sat down with Mary last week and went over this for about 2 hours, asking her all of my questions and getting them answered. So I'm by no means rubber stamping anything. However, I'm probably not going to sit down and tell Erica, you don't need a street sweeper or you don't need a mower. What the heck is wrong with you? If she says she needs a mower,
Not staff.
I mean, okay. As far as, so you're fixated on the staff that we're adding. Okay, I talked to Mary about the staff that was added and I understand the needs. So I guess that is what it is, but I'm not rubber stamping anything. I've had my questions answered.
All right, guys, speak up.
No, I'll just make a comment. Having been here for a while, knowing that the budgets are built and they're designed to be depleted, so that projects can be accomplished. That's the only way that we're able to keep putting money into the town without getting a whole bunch back. Each year, we get a little bit, we build up a fund, we expend that fund and leave a lower budget, a lower amount that's in there. And I think part of your comment was that you don't like the fact that we're using these funds, and that's what they're there for, is to be used by design. So that's my only comment. I'm not rubber stamping anything either. I mean, each year as we look at this and go forward, I was out for 2 years. I came back and I never saw anything that was wrong with the way that this progressed to the point where it is today. If you think we can get by with less staff, then maybe the best thing to do is sit down and suggest what you don't think we need, instead of saying, I don't agree with what you've chosen to do.
That's what I'm trying to do by ask for a continuance so we can all talk about this stuff.
Yeah, we can talk.
We need to talk about it tonight in front of the public and not. All right.
Sorry. Well, I must see if I can summarize what I've heard here. There are some questions that you have in regards to the budget. In all fairness to everybody, though, this budget has been brought out here since July, August timeframe. Mary presented the initial pass and we had plenty of time. If we wanted to do something like a retreat or something, that would have been the time to do that at the very early stages of the process, so that we could open up subjects and beat them up, do what we needed to do, and provide staff. I don't qualify myself as somebody who knows whether or not they need staff or not. I depend on that's why we have these people in place. They tell us if they need staff. I'm not going to go to Erica says you don't need 3 more people. I don't know that. I wouldn't have a clue. But there's certainly stuff that we could beat up early on in the process. I think what you're hearing now is that we are at the tail end of our process, and this is no time to stop the train and bring it back to the depot. If there are some very specific things, as you mentioned, with staffing, we need to bring that up now, beat it up now. If you don't think 7 is the right number and you can justify that, then let's talk about it now. But I think we need to come out of tonight with some concurrence on what we're going to do with the budget. We need to move forward with it. We do have legal commitments that these things have to be done within certain timeframes. So
December.
Well, December is the certification, yeah. So that's my comment.
I was going to say much. I was just going to say that we've all had our due diligence to talk to staff. So it's not like we're rubber stamping anything up here. You've done yours. I didn't know you talked to them. You don't know what I talked to them about. If we have a concern, we bring it up to the board as well. But most of the time, my questions are being answered by the staff. So I didn't feel a need to bring anything up, but we did just have a retreat. These things could have been brought up at that retreat we just had. If there was a concern that you were concerned about the 7 staff members or what have you, we should have talked about it then.
It wasn't the topic of the retreat.
It can be. You can add anything you want to the retreat. Retreats are open to add, and was asked, do we have anything else that we want to add to this retreat?
Yeah.
It was asked.
Can I speak now? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Trustee Crane, let me just confirm for the record that that is you speaking. Since we
Yes,
had
that
heard
is
from
me.
you.
Yes,
Thank
that
you.
is me speaking.
Thank you.
Right now I'm completely on Brad's side. I really don't agree with a whole bunch of this staffing issue. And just to bring up some of the rubber stamp thing, I do believe there has been a lot of rubber stamping going on in the past. And we did have a retreat, as Colleen Whitlow talked about, but it seemed like I had a whole piece of paper ready to bring up other things to talk about for fundings and stuff, but it was a 2.5 hour shit show on how we can get everybody online to get 4-story complex and a PUD for that one place. We didn't talk about anything else but that one place. That was not a real retreat. And I really think we should talk about these stash issues, but these staff issues is going to take a lot longer than what we can do right now.
Thank you, Trustee Crane. It's only 7:09. We have until 10 o'clock to discuss according to the regulations that we've set tonight for this meeting.
I mean, okay, Mary, would you be prepared to go through each one of the staff positions that you guys want to add and tell us why you want to add them and what the need is, please? Is that possible? Are you prepared to do that, or do you need?
Do that.
Okay, great.
It might be a combination, right, of me and Helen and Lorelei and Erica, right? Do you want me to start, Helen, or do you want to field it? Okay, so
Mary, why don't you start with the fragmented positions? Because what we're talking about is 4 full-time equivalents being added, and then the other are all part-time. Is that true?
let me find my notes from the September 29th, because I had those numbers in there and I
So-
have them right over here.
So let's just knock off the easiest one is the SRO. So the SRO is the new position whose salary will be funded by St. Valley School. So that one actually, we came to the board knowing you approved the IGA with them 2 weeks ago. So that position really isn't up for question because the board's already agreed to provide the position and the St. Vrain is providing the funding. So we're really talking about 3 new positions plus the part-time other ones.
Right. So the part-time other ones is part-time rec and front desk staff. We have had to hire additional staff to work that location, right? We added in the 2025 budget, we added 1 admin clerk position for over there to mainly run the front desk and do the finances and help with contracts and stuff. And we hired that position in 2025. We've always had some part-time rec assistant staff. We had them before at like 1.52 FTEs, but that has grown with the rec center. And actually in 2025, it was more like 2.5, and it's more than that this year. It's up to, according to the staffing sheet that you all have in the back of your packet. And mine is not in the back of my packet. But the FTEs, oh, here it is. The FTEs for the rec center went up by 1.25. Really, it went up by, about 6 or 7 people, all working, 10 to 20 hours a week. So, but 1.25 FTE is there. For front desk staff and 1.67 for rec assistants. So those are the 2 changes there. And I'm looking at this sheet that's in the back of your budget. It's kind of small print, but it is there. And over in the far column is where it shows the changes, right? From 25 to 26. So
So is one of those full-time?
so the full-time person was in 25, right?
25 already. All, so the rest of those were all part-time. Okay.
Right. And then down at recreation assistant, we have 2.20 FTEs in 2026. The difference is 1.67, so we had a little over 1 combined with the front desk staff. So those are the part-time people. Any questions specifically on those? We can ask Lorelei if you have specific questions on the part-time staffing.
Trustee Crane, since you're here with us virtually, would you have any questions about the part-time rec staff? Trustee Crane,
It's a little hard for me to look at numbers right now. I don't have.
you don't have your packet with you?
I do not have a hard copy of the packet.
Oh, it's in the blue binder.
Yeah, he's saying.
Yeah, it's in the back of the blue binder, which was passed out on September 29th. Right.
Okay, let me look for it.
Okay. Do you want me to go on to the communications manager? So the need, as explained on September 29th for the communications manager, is that we continue to expand our outreach across social media, economic development, recreation, and events. As we expand, there's a growing need for a deputy level position to support the community engagement director. You'll see we have this deputy level position in some other departments, and this is trying to add it to that department. It would, in addition to being a backup to the director. It would broaden outreach capacity, provide staff oversight, ensure continuity, and strengthen succession planning. So the responsibilities that we identified right off the bat, which may change between now and hiring somebody, were communication support for the town, the board, and Mead Police Department. You've seen that our social media presence has expanded. We do more news releases. Our economic development platform on Built for Mead and iHeartMedia has expanded over the last couple of years. Our social media platforms and website have expanded. We'd like to get out more marketing, print, and digital materials. It seems that the public wants more print materials than what's on social media, but also to assist with contracts and grants and to assist in building partnerships. If you have more questions on that, I'll let maybe Helen or Lorelei answer.
Questions on the communication deputy? Trustee Hagan, you have your light on? You have a question about that one? Okay, questions about that? Okay, all right, keep going.
All right. So the other position, the next position was the town clerk position. So the town clerk is currently combined with the town treasurer and other administrative functions by me. As you know, I've been your town clerk for about 8 years now. And about 6 years ago, when the town treasurer quit, I was asked to take on name only as town treasurer as we hired a consultant to do some financial stuff. And my role has expanded as the town treasurer. So my role has expanded into finance. And so personally, I'm swamped between the town clerk and the town treasurer position. We used to have 2 roles. Now we have 1. As we're filling more of this in-house, our consultant hours, Lorraine Trotter, who you've met, her contract is going down over the last couple of years because we're using her less. We're doing more stuff in-house. In addition, there is a deputy town clerk. The deputy town clerk is our court clerk, Marisol Herman, who's here in the room too. Court is becoming busier. We started the deputy town clerk and the deputy town clerk, court clerk position as probably a 30-70 or 40-60, expecting it to be about 30 or 40% court and 60% deputy clerk doing licensing and records and other things. As our court gets busier, that percentage is blowing up, right? So our court's been getting busier and our responsibilities are there. We're seeing court become about 60 to 70% of that position. So we're finding a harder time to get the licensing done on time, the core requests and the records. So the reason for the add of the town clerk position is to kind of relieve a little bit both from the deputy town clerk and from the administrative services director to lighten up some of the load.
And if I could just add, in addition to that, Mary's also in charge of human resources and IT. So she's being kind of understating the dancing as fast as I can thing. So we talked about it a lot, about adding the clerk position. There's some hesitancy because Mary's so good at it, but she's got like a 5-legged stool here of all these different things that she's running. And what we're trying to do and have been trying to do is create an environment. Frankly, if someone leaves, we aren't running on 3 wheels. So this is it made the most sense to add the town clerk position, especially since you don't know what you will get in that position. Mary's here to keep it going, but there's only so many more things you can add to her. She is doing quite a bit and she has a lot of functions underneath her. So that's the reason for the town clerk position.
Questions?
If I recall, way back when, we used to have a deputy town clerk. When Janet was the town clerk, we had a deputy town clerk at the time. And then when Mary came in, we kind of consolidated all that, put it back into one bucket. But and I think that's probably a fairly normal thing to do, is move stuff around to where it fits the best. So I'm okay with that.
Questions for Mary? All right, thank you, Mary. Okay.
And then the other position is the Public Works Operations Supervisor, Parks and Public Works. So we currently have our Public Works Department under Erica, the Town Engineer, Public Works Director, leading the Public Works Department. She does have a deputy with Dave Matthews, but leading the Public Works Department is our Operations Manager, which is Bo Hurtado. And we have an Operations Supervisor. Why can't I think of his name? Corey. So Corey's the Operations Supervisor, and then they supervise, I don't know the number. I should have looked, 8 or 10. How many? Huh? 8 Public Works maintenance people. So 8 Public Works maintenance people is quite a few for one supervisor to oversee. So this would split the department. So we have 2 supervisors overseeing that staff. But it also allows for some specialization, right? We can look for some specialization as far as taking care of the landscaping and the trees in particular of the new facilities that's going in.
Just a question.
Yeah.
How do we do at promoting from within? So if I had a maintenance 1 and they did a great job and we had maintenance 2 opening, can we promote that person up into there? And therefore requiring a staff position, but of a maintenance 1?
If we have the opening in a maintenance 2, we are required by state law to post the position and consider internal and external candidates.
Is that true for all of our positions? or
It is.
just- So we do that, right?
Yeah.
You're looking
And-
at a prime example of promoting from within. She started at the front desk.
Right.
I mean, so yes, we do promote from within.
Okay, that was
Yeah.
that's the answer I was looking for. It's not just her.
Yeah, but
It's a normal practice. for us.
exactly.
That's all.
There are other positions that we have, we post it for 3 days when we're ready to promote somebody, and we hope that they apply for it and then they get promoted. But yeah, we do promote from within.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions for Mary for the operations position?
I just want to say, if you're going to hire it, if you're looking for somebody who does trees, please don't just hire a landscape person. Arborist is an art. And they can destroy trees in a heartbeat if they don't know what they're doing. So that's all I want to say.
Okay, no other questions? Is there any more that we need to talk
Those
about?
are the positions.
And that's it. Okay.
Okay, so the 3 full-time then were the Public Works extra person, the town clerk, and the SRO?
Communication.
And the communications.
And
Okay,
Yep.
so 4 extra, but one of them was the SRO, so it's kind of.
Yep.
Okay, so 3 full-time.
Mhm.
The other ones are part-time. And obviously, Lorelei, sometimes you don't hire them all every year. If you don't get enough kids to field enough soccer teams that you need that many refs, you don't hire that many refs. Can that fluctuate, the number of rec aides you need?
The number of rec aides that we use does fluctuate based on season.
Yeah.
I would add, though, that the addition of the part-time recreation assistants isn't strictly because of the community center. All of our recreation programs, flag football, volleyball, soccer, basketball is a big one. They have each grown in participants by 40% every single year. So we are handling a lot of kiddos and significantly more teams and more programming as requested by the residents. They want more ways to participate.
Right, you guys added the running, the girls on the run.
Girls on the Run.
And you added one that wasn't necessarily sports.
Summit Singers.
Yeah, I mean, like, so there's other.
That was
things
a big
too.
one. We had 30 kids register for that. And that's one that we're looking to continue to use Meg Lawless as our instructor. And she's a big draw as well. So that is one of those programs that we anticipate will continue to grow.
And with the new community center, we now have indoor facilities more readily available to grow these programs even more, which is
Yes.
great.
And add new things. I mean, prior to the community center, it was primarily youth sports. And what we've heard through multiple ways of outreach is that the residents and the community members and the folks that go to Mead schools and participate in our recreation programs want alternative programming like music and crafts and arts. So just a different wide variety.
I just wanted to say, after listening to all this, I'm completely satisfied that the staffing requirements are necessary. With the town growth as it's been going, I think you guys are going in the right direction, so I support that. And we'll move forward from there.
Thank you, Lorelei. And does any of the trustees have any more questions or concern? Yes, trustee Hagan.
That was an exercise, I guess. We already knew staff believed they needed more staff or they wanted to put it in the budget. So I was looking more for a philosophy. There's only one way to cut or limit spending in a town, and that's to control the staff level. Bottom line, look at all the costs. Vast majority of it is staff. So that's what the angle I was coming at it from. I've watched too many of these small towns blow up in staff size way out of proportion. And since we are so high in a citizen to employee proportion already, I just don't think it makes sense. So let's have the vote.
Thank you for your comment. Any other? Oh, Chris, sorry.
I think we're in a really weird size right now. We're not big enough to not have the staff, and we're not small enough to have too much. We're growing into our staff at the same time our staff is growing. And I think if we don't get what we need now, we're going to be stunted. That's kind of my feeling. Community center, we just heard from Lorelei how fast everything is growing, and most of this staff is going, at least the part-time staff is going to support that growth, which is, I mean, that's what the community wanted. That's what they want. They complain about it, but just being a basketball court, but we just heard of 11 other things that are going on in that community center. So I can see everything on the left-hand side of this part-time staffing are people that are going to come, they're going to stay for a while, they're going to go. It's not going to be people who are here to stay. If does that make sense? Is that right? I mean, most of the people are not going to be here for.
Well, a lot of times they hire kids.
Right.
A lot of the referee stuff and things like that. They're kids. My sons did it, and so.
But they're not doing it anymore.
No,
right.
they did it for a couple
So
years,
it's.
Then they graduate and move on.
Yeah, it seems like the part-time staff is more transitional. On the other side of it, we know the SRO is already selected. I made a comment about the communication manager. I think that we don't do enough. We have a communication manager, but there's only so much one person can do and still put the fires out from the things that are coming in, however they're coming in, whether it's I don't know, however fires are put out. Mary's doing 5 jobs. I can see definitely splitting that job into 2. I think the person who's coming in is going to have to be trained, because we're not going to probably hire a town clerk who comes from another facility or another town, unless we can find somebody. And as far as operations go, it's hard to herd cats. I can see that position also. So I don't see any of these positions as being things that we may be able to put them off for 6 months, but at some point in time in the next year, I think we're going to need them. So maybe it's something, we don't do it tomorrow. We wait until March or April before we start to look for some of these positions. And maybe by then we've cut the staff costs down by 50% or 30%.
Any other comments or questions? All right, I just want to make a comment on the slide with the 1% for street improvements. And hats off to Erica and her team for what we've accomplished this year. Mead and Mulligan Street, outrageously great. Mulligan entrance, wonderful. some of these other roads, which is not one road that was super important that we got done, was the collaboration between CDOT, Weld County, Town of Mead is 34, is from County Road 7 to I-25. That was amazing collaboration to get it done. So kudos, and please put that on the next slide if you ever give it out to whoever. But I'm in agreement to, move forward with this budget tonight. I've heard the concern with Trustee Hagan and Trustee Crane. I believe that we're moving in the right direction of cross-training and doing a whole bunch of different things that we don't get to see because in our positions, we're not here daily. And I believe that the staff has done an outstanding job of trying to get this budget in front of us every time that we're together. So I appreciate Mary and the staff, Helen, that puts this together, even though we didn't have a retreat just based on this. But I believe that we're moving forward. So with that, do we have a motion to approve the 2026 budget?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 65R 2025. Resolution of the Town of Mead summarizing expenditures and revenues for each fund, adopting a budget for the Town of Mead, Colorado for the calendar year beginning the first day, January 2026, ending the last day, December 2026.
Second.
Thank you very much. Mary, roll call, please.
Trustee Adams,
Yes.
trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
trustee Shranz,
Yes.
trustee Crane,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris,
Yes.
trustee Hagan,
No.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you very much. We have approved budget and it moves forward. Is there a motion to approve the resolution number 65-R-2025, which would authorize the property taxes?
Or 66.
Excuse me, 66, sorry for the
Sorry.
I move that we accept resolution number 66-R-2025. Resolution of the Town of Mead, Colorado levying general property taxes for the year 2025 to help defray the cost of government for the Town of Mead, Colorado for the 2026 budget year.
Second.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please, Mary.
Trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris,
Yes.
trustee Hagan,
Yes.
trustee Shranz,
Yes.
trustee Crane,
Yes.
trustee Adams,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes, thank you very much. Resolution number 66-R-2025 passes. Is there a motion to approve resolution number 67, which is appropriating the funds for expenditures?
I will move to approve resolution number 67R 2025, a resolution of the Town of Mead, Colorado, appropriating sums of money to the various funds and spending agencies in the amount and for the purposes as set forth below for the Town of Mead, Colorado for the 2026 budget year.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Mary.
Trustee Harris,
Yes.
trustee Hagan,
No.
trustee Shranz.
Yeah.
Trustee Adams,
Yes.
trustee Crane,
No.
trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes, thank you very much. Resolution number 67-R-2025 is approved. Thank you, everyone, for this time on the public hearing. I will now close the public hearing at 7:33. Okay, we'll move on to our next agenda item. We have no further general business. So this brings us to our second regular public comment period, which will be for items, whether it's on the agenda or not. We will follow the same guidelines previously stated. I will ask on individuals in the order which they have signed in. Again, I ask all speakers and audience members to treat one another with respect and dignity. Mary, has anybody signed up for the second public comment period?
No, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Move on to elected official reports for this evening. I will open up the floor for our town trustees. There's a sheet at the entry table. Mr. Smith, if you'd like to speak to the public, the trustees, please join us.
Don Smith, 325 Main Street. I'm going to talk tonight, not about the budget, but we're going to talk about 2B, the false narratives which were created and paid for by the town, by you on that board. The advertising agency, $21,000 plus for these false narratives on here. Only one patrol per shift means there is no backup during emergencies. First of all, Trustee Harris posted a post about the shifts, and there is always, almost always.
Mr. Smith, please just, you need to address the Board of Trustees,
You're
not
cutting in
specific.
time, and I'm addressing Trustee Harris. Again, Trustee Harris posted on the social media page that there is almost always more than one patrolled on or more than one officer. We can go and look to what she posted. And we also know you're cutting into my time also. We also know that I personally have spoken to officers and there's more than one patrolled out there at a time. So this is a false narrative created on this sheet that is paid for by our tax dollars. And during this, there is no emergency backup. Not true. If there is an emergency, it goes to Weld County Switchboard. And if there is a sheriff's patrol or any other officer in the area, they will respond to the call. We are not left unpatrolled. That is another part of it here that says bookings take 1 to 3 hours, during which time we are unpatrolled. Also not true if we have more than one officer on. These are all false narratives on here, including the fact that our officers are legally must cover I-25. We are secondary to the Colorado Highway Patrol. We are not primary, and that is only 5 miles. All the narratives that are on this, that the chief himself pushes to, slower emergency responses. In other words, another fear mongering here. We paid for these, and I have 5 different ones here that are all scare tactics and misleading. During this weekend trick or treat for the kids, across from my building, there is a building across there that states all kinds of statistical facts and pays for certain people in this room, including our manager and the chief. And not only did the police take up 2 spots intentionally to block that narrative that was on the wall over there, which is all specifically true, but so did the mayor's husband take up 2 booths, and then he put up a giant banner to try to cover the whole thing up. This is how we deal with opposing point of views, is by covering up the truth. Instead of, we pay for false narratives with tax dollars and send this out. The only reason this will pass is because there is no opposing view that was paid for, which gets me to the fact that it is legally, and I don't have it in front of me right now, legally misleading what you guys did to pay for this, because there's a Colorado statute that says what you did is illegal. So we should have an investigation into this whole thing, including the fact that the finances were illegally done with this whole advertising, which is against Colorado statutes. And Head got up and stated as much, and you guys paid no attention to it. You all are shameful.
Okay, we'll move on to our agenda items for elected official reports. Town trustees?
File something with the AG, Dawn. See where it goes. I'm just saying. If you have a legitimate complaint, file something with the Colorado Attorney General and see where it goes. I know. Hey, this is my time to comment. Yeah. Yeah.
Public comment.
Okay.
If there's something that you'd like to address during your trustee report later on the agenda, that would be an appropriate time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Trustee Adams and then trustee Trance.
So on the lines of personal versus trustee positions, it is a slippery slope that we sometimes run and emotions can take over. I had heard about some concerns and so forth that were on social media this past week. I pretty much stay away from that, just because I do not want to be involved in that. If somebody's got something to say, they can say it here. But my concern is that when personal points of view start to conflict or cross over into us as a group of trustees, that is where I have a concern. So we just need to be cognizant of what we are doing. If there's a request out there from the board, which apparently there was a request for the entire board to put some things out there, that needs to go through the town. That does not become an individual perspective for us to do when it is being asked. That comes through the town. I did ask CIRSA and the CML staff there and their lawyers, and they are in 100% agreement with that. So we just need to make sure that we keep our personal and what we do up here as a trustee separate, and we need to not get caught up in the moment. Okay, and that is my concern. So we need to make sure that we have a higher role that we need to aspire to, and that's where we need to hold ourselves accountable to. I know that we are individuals as well, but just keep that in mind.
You should recognize me.
Yes.
I've got a few things. First of all, some FYI. There's a Northern Colorado Affordable Housing Summit going on next week, November 5th. This is just an FYI. I am planning on attending that. I think some conversations are starting to happen up north about this thing called affordable housing, and I think somewhere down the road we'll have an opportunity to cross over on that line. So I'm trying to collect as much information. It is open to anybody. It's free for any elected official. I know it's difficult because it's in the middle of the week and it runs from 8:30 to 11:30, but it's there if anybody's interested, and I will be attending. Second of all, in line with some of the other things that have been said tonight, I get a little frustrated at times when I see a lot of stuff on social media that is not necessarily always correct, sometimes misleading, sometimes out and out lies. And I have talked with a lot of my colleagues as well as legal, because I get very frustrated, and I don't think we should just not have an opportunity to set the record straight. So I have asked to see how we can best take what something is said, if it is incorrect, make it correct, and so that the people in our community can see both sides of a story, not just hear one side of it and not know what is true. I personally have been approached by citizens who read stuff on social media and come to me and say, is this right? Is this what's going on? And it gets very difficult. And I don't think people get the other side. So I'd like to find out, and I'm going to ask the PIO of our organization here, Ms. Lorelei, how we can get some stuff out there. I don't want to create arguments. I just want to correct an incorrect statement. So if somebody says blue is green, I want to be able to go out there and say, thank you for that, but blue is in fact blue.
Hi, thank you. My recommendation, having talked to Marcus, would be for Chief and I to draft a press release clarifying any kind of misinformation, rumors that are circulating about, and put that statement out on social media and our website.
And I would support doing that. And I don't know what it takes to get that done, if to give that direction to our PIO to do.
Well, I would just ask for a thumbs up from the trustees to go forward. Okay. Mr. Hagan, Trustee Hagan.
I'm not on social media. I'll defer to whatever
Okay.
you guys want to do.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Close that late.
Thank you.
Yep. Oh, Trustee Crane. Keep forgetting these. Trustee Crane, can you hear us?
Maybe we should have a retreat, talk about it.
Yeah, I could hear you.
Okay.
I'm not really on social media that much anyway, just like Hagen. So I don't know. That doesn't really matter to me.
Okay, great. There you have the direction. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the last thing I have, at the last meeting, I have brought up an exciting thing for me with this thing called the Citizens Academy, something that we learned other towns are doing, which helps citizens get a better understanding of how municipal government functions and how it works, how the individual departments work, which I think is a very valuable thing for our people, those that are especially interested in it. So I brought that up, and it went forward, and Mary, thank you, she responded, but we got to a point now that says, okay, where do we go from here? So I'd like to see, I guess if the other trustees are in favor of doing something like a Citizens Academy, and then ask staff, what is the next step to get it done? or at least to begin that process. I understand it's not going to be something simple, slam dunk, and I know you're overloaded with work, but I also think it has some value that's fairly important. So I would open it up to the trustees for discussion on, or to the staff, what the next step is.
Well, thank you, trustee Schmitz. Mary looked into Windsor's and what they do, and my recommendation would be to see if the board wants to do it, and everybody, all the board members would attend. And we kind of mocked up the idea of having Mary kind of recreate what she does for, right before an election where people come in and they want to run as trustees and they want to know what the town's about. So she kind of runs through all the departments. It seems like a one-dayer would be a better way to do it than a series, just to see the interest. Because we're not sure. Windsor had, they said between 10 and 15 people do it. And they're a town of what, 40,000 now? So we're a little concerned that we don't know if there'd be enough interest in the public. So we thought the best thing to do would be to do a one-time, with the trustees all going and then Mary doing a presentation, and probably make it 2-3 hours long. Does that?
I want to open up for discussion to the rest of the trustees. I was excited when I saw what the other towns had done with it, and I just thought it was a great thing. That's why I brought it up. And I know we do a similar thing with the police academy, and that seems to be somewhat successful. People come out of there a lot smarter than when they went in, and that's the objective. So.
I think one day to start out with a pilot to see how it goes. And then if there's interest, by word of mouth or whatever, I think that would be, sometime later for first of the year after we get all this other things happening in the year, that we pick sometime and then what is that, winter, spring, whatever, to have maybe a pilot program with it. And then if it's successful, then.
Or you thinking maybe a Saturday, like after coffee with the mayor?
Yeah, that would be perfect. A lot of people there. Yeah. Chris?
I was going to say, I think it's important that we talk about the things that need to be in that academy, because I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about, like, number one is funds and budgeting and things like that. And even if 20 minutes was spent on that with people who are willing to go out and talk about it, that might clear up a lot of the confusion of why money is in one place and we can't just move it to another. That's, one big issue that's been pushed around quite a bit. But also what our role as board is, and what the role of a mayor is super important. What the clerk's job is, what the town manager's job is, why we have an attorney sitting here. I think you need to clarify the jobs is really important also. So I just want to throw that out as a.
Yeah. What do you think, Herman?
I'm great. I'm okay with the pilot program. I think that's probably a smart way to go forward, to get some interest. I would just like to make sure we have enough time to talk about some of the key things. As Chris said, budget is important. A lot of people don't understand what a general fund is and how it functions and all those kinds of things. And I think educating the public, which is what we have been doing for the last 4 years on all this, on all these things, that it just needs to be continued, and maybe dig in a little bit deeper just so that people have an opportunity. So I think the pilot program is fine. I'm okay with that. And I know it's going to take a little time to get it set up. But we do have a couple of models that we might be able to plagiarize from and pick and choose subjects that we can do. And let's see if 3 hours is enough. I just want to make sure we have enough time. I hate limiting things. So, well, we got 1 hour, so let's talk about everything in 1 hour. And you get about 30-second snapshot of everything, and it just, we won't get any further attendance after that. But if we got the right time allocated and we hit the right subjects, I know we can't talk about everything, but certainly select the right subjects, pick on them. And that helps get it back out there. And then maybe the next time we have more. And then you can expand from there. you know, 3 hours wasn't enough, maybe you go to 4, you know, whatever. So I'm okay with that. You know, it sounds like the rest of the board is okay with the whole concept of, I haven't heard anything negative about it. So I'd like to move forward with it. I just think it has value.
Sure. Trustee Hagan, input?
Nope.
Trustee Crane, do you have any input?
I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. I think it could go good or it could go bad. Um, uh, I don't know really how many people would watch, just dependent upon how many people come to the meetings and stuff anyway. And if there's a giant IT issue like with our little meet the candidates before we were voted in that didn't even get recorded and couldn't even be seen, that's a big problem that could mess everything up also.
I would imagine this would be in person.
Yeah.
This would not be in Zoom. It wouldn't be any of, I would assume people would hands-on, couple hours, informational, back and forth.
Right.
I don't see anything Zoom wise and there, so that alleviates some of that IT problems that you're talking about. Okay.
Good. So that gives you the direction you need? Okay.
Anything else, trustees?
Well, I have.
Okay. All right. Well, I got the opportunity to sit in court with Judge Thrower and the dynamic staff that we have here. And what a great process that has been gone through. So kudos to Chief and the PD who get people in and out safely. What anybody can come and watch this process. Outrageous. They did a great job making sure everybody was inside and safe and through the line and all that stuff. And Marisol, you guys, your team and Mary's team and all that. The court system is great. And it was packed in here, packed. So kudos to get everybody here on time and our, what is it, the prosecutor in the other room? That's, yep. Prosecuting attorney was in the other room. Judge Thrower did a great job with all the defendants and all of the people that were in the room. So it was a great time. And I think every trustee should just come and just see. Yeah, it was packed. Wow. All out the door. Well, they're not from here. Oh, okay. But I just wanted to point out, Mary, thank you very much. And Chief, thank you. You did a great job. This Thursday, we have our annual town county dinner at the Weld County Building. Trustee Adamson, Trustee Trance, I joined them for the CML Effective Governance for 2 days in Denver this week or last week. It was a great time. I learned something new every time I go down there. A lot's happening with the EDAC committee, which is the Economic Development Dr. Cog Advisory Committee for the region. And so we're working on different scenarios, everything from housing to small business entrepreneurship and so on. So pretty packed couple weeks. So I look forward to the next meeting for that. I think that's it. And with that, 7:53, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please, Mary.
Trustee Trans.
Yes.
Trustee Crane.
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright.
Yes.
Trustee Adams.
Yes.
Trustee Hagan.
Yes, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. The October 27, 2025 regular meeting of the Board of Trustees is now adjourned at 7:53. Thank you.